everyone. We are thrilled that you're joining us tonight. My name is Kayla Holly. I am a senior double majoring in public relations and business administration. A little bit about me is I'm the current president of Oswego's chapter of Lambda Pi Eta, the National Communication Honor Society. I serve as the National Vice President of Professional Development for PRSSA. I currently work for a marketing communications agency, Tipping Point Communications, as a content coordinator. I will be graduating in May, and after that, I hope to continue my work helping brands strategize and implement their public relations tactics. So thank you for joining us tonight for a session on the freelance marketplace. We are well into our second annual Imagine 2022 program sponsored by the President's Office, Career Services, and the Oswego Alumni Association. This is the third week of an amazing program series focused on giving current students and the class of 2021 the chance to explore career paths, find job and internship opportunities, network with alumni, and more. Check out the website for more details. The link will be in the chat. Just by attending tonight's event, you'll be eligible for a prize drawing at the end of the week. If you complete our survey at the end of this session, we'll enter you twice. Just one housekeeping item, please place any questions or comments into the chat as we'll be closely monitoring this. And now I am very excited to introduce you to our guest speaker. Phil Alfaro is a career entrepreneur. After graduating from Oswego in 1985, his first corporate job was with NCR selling microcomputers to Fortune 500 companies. At NCR, he was awarded the Chairman's Award for achieving top salesman in the computer systems division. Later, he was in the founding team of 5 venture capital funded startups in Silicon Valley. Next, he launched an entrepreneur academy in his second language, Spanish. Phil was able to experience a digital nomad lifestyle where he traveled for 7 years while growing the academy to over 2,500 clients worldwide. Wow. Upon returning to the United States, he launched an online education initiative to teach how to build a remote work career in the gig economy. I would like to introduce you to Phil.
Well, thank you, Kayla, and hello, everybody. What a privilege and honor it is to be here now. I'm tuning in from West Palm Beach, so it's only 60 degrees here, so I feel guilty already. And I missed the lake effect in Oswego. But well, today I have something that's going to be different, but I think it's going to be something that you're really going to like and appreciate. And I know all over the world, we've been challenged with the pandemic. And although, you know, for all the bad things it's brought us, I think sometimes challenges in life sometimes have a bright thing at the end there somewhere. And I think that's one of the things that happened. The pandemic definitely opened up a new perspective, which is right on what we're going to talk about tonight. And a lot of it has to do with the life-work balance. You know, before you had to work, you know, to make life go, and then you do things that you're really passionate about on the vacations. And the only way you could do more life and less work is if you made some economic sacrifices. Well, now that's all turned around. So that's the heart of what we're going to talk about. And really, it's just a change of paradigm for employment. So this is right on for being a student today. And what it's brought is great flexibility. And this is great because flexibility of when you work, right? No more 9 to 5 like it used to be, where you want to work from and what you want to work on. Those are some great choices, right? And yes, what I'm going to show you today as a profession, as a side gig, does require some persistence in the beginning, but eventually you're going to hit a tipping point. And this could be your go-to channel for when you need extra income or just about as a dedicated career. So let's dive in. I'm going to share my screen now. And any questions, just put it in the chat. Presentation shouldn't last an hour, so we should have plenty of time at the end to share my screen, go into some things, you know, all the stuff. So, all right. So how to prosper as a student in the new gig economy. The secrets to working on campus or on your summer break on your own terms with the hours you want to dedicate at the times that are most convenient, the pay rate you decide, and the geographic freedom that you deserve. I know this sounds a little bit like a comedy, like how could that be? But I think with this presentation, you'll see very clearly that this is exactly what's going on. And I want to start off, this was, I was putting together this presentation last week, and just last Sunday, or 2 Sundays ago, 60 Minutes had this, I saw this on YouTube. So if you Google 60 Minutes, the big quit, you'll find it. And this was a topic, the big quit, why are Americans choosing to quit their jobs in record numbers? So I was like, wow, this is fascinating. And again, you could look it up and see it. I think it was only 13 minutes on YouTube. But Karen Kimbrough was on. She's the chief economist of LinkedIn. And she had this to say. She goes, people have been living to work for a long time. I think the pandemic brought that moment of reflection. What do I want to do? What makes my heart sing? And people are thinking, if not now, when? This is some pretty personal development stuff from a chief executive at LinkedIn, right? And in the story, they talked about Melissa Williams, and Melissa Williams was a great example here. She had a career in marketing. She was married. They just had their first kid, and the pandemic hit. And somewhere in there, she joined the big quit. She left her job in marketing. And she's like, I don't know, maybe it was because they just had the baby, and also because her husband was, was employed. So maybe she could, she had the leeway to do so. But all of a sudden, fast forward, she's now doing marketing for 3 different companies in the gig economy. And she said, she's so happy about it. And she says that I even have time now to go do a job that I've always was passionate about. She's teaching, I think, in a high school or elementary school or something, but she's a teacher. And maybe she couldn't afford to do that before, but now she's doing it out of passion. So this is a great example. And then they had Kenzie Biggins, who's the CEO of Worksby. And she started a executive virtual assistant for executives company 4 years ago, before the pandemic, and everybody thought she was crazy. Executives like, wait a minute, an executive assistant, they need to be here sitting next to me in the office, right? She goes, no, everything's changed. Well, come the pandemic, she says she went from placing 4 people a month to 17 people a week or something like that. You'll see the video, but the point is that this is where the world is going. And they mentioned things like this. I used to, I grew up in New York. That's why I was in Oswego, and I went to Silicon Valley in San Francisco for 17 years. People are leaving San Francisco. They're leaving Chicago. They're moving to Austin and Miami or wherever. And why? Because the work's becoming remote. Where do you want to live? And they just use an example, why pay for an apartment in New York City or San Francisco when you could buy a house in Charlotte for the same amount that you spend in a month? So, okay, so just a little rewind. But the point is, this whole work-life balance is in the spotlight like never before. And it's not like you have to sacrifice work to have more life or vice versa, right? So let's dive in. Okay, so, I already told you the headline before, your dream on-campus income, summer break, or career path. And what we're going to talk about is, work when it's most convenient to your schedule, get valuable experience in the field that you're studying today there on campus and school, convert passions and hobbies into income. It's not just monetizing what you're learning at school. Are you into music, into yoga, into sports? Whatever it is, you could monetize it in this gig economy. You could set your own pay rate, and you could decide when you're worthy of a raise. Once you start collecting those 5 stars, you're like, hey, today I feel good. I'm going to raise my rates. And also you could learn this trade as a side gig or as a full-time career. So I'm going to fast forward. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to pitch at the end, just for people. Maybe you're watching the replay or something like that. I just want you to let you know that I'm going to invite you at the end to an Oswego skilled freelancing team. This is what I'm going to cover today. I haven't covered it all today. I just want to give you the heads up. This is a scholarship award. It's not going to cost anything, but you're going to be part of a team to learn how to be a skilled freelancer. And together, we're going to search for top performing freelancers in the types of jobs that you want to do, so we could see who they are, what they make, what kind of jobs do they do, so you can get an idea. And then you're going to create your freelancing profile. We're going to do this together. You're going to search for the gigs that are best for you, for your schedule, for the topics that you want to cover. We're going to learn how to reply to these gigs, right? And you're going to start building your 5-star portfolio. There's even some resources we're going to give away, like Chromebooks and a mic and a camera, or any kind of tools that you need to be good at this or to be able to do this. And you might even get your first paying gig from yours truly. I'm going to hire some of the students that are in this, and we'll come up with all the rules and how we're going to do this later. But I just want to let you know that's the link. Maybe Gary or something to put it in the chat, but don't worry, you don't have to fill that out now. But I just want you to be aware that this is coming. And if all you have to do is fill out this survey if you want to be part of it. Okay, so this is all about the crowdsourcing marketplace, and this has impacted companies of all sizes. I mentioned, Kayla mentioned in the intro that I was in a handful of different startups in Silicon Valley. Well, I'm talking about 10 years ago even, you needed $500,000 just to get to a prototype. To rent an office in San Francisco, hire 10 engineers, forget it, you're burning, $50,000 a month. $500,000 doesn't even last you, a half a year usually. So the point is, today, two people with a great idea can hire marketing people, technical people, customer support people, and at a fraction of the cost of what this used to do. So companies are launching for a much more efficient rates. And then big companies, they have to pivot quickly. If not, these little startups are going to eat their lunch and disrupt them, right? So do they want to hire, new people every time someone comes up with a new idea, or are they just going to give a manager a budget and say, go to the gig economy, crowdsource this, let's see if you can get some traction, and if it makes sense, we'll bring it in-house. So this is impacting all businesses, all sizes. A little bit of some data here, this you might find interesting. This was a research study that was commissioned by Upwork, which is a freelancing site, but it was conducted by Edelman Intelligence. So should be pretty fair here. And they're saying the size of the freelancing workforce in 2020. This came out beginning of 2021. And as you know, 2020 was when the pandemic first hit. 59 million Americans freelanced in 2020. That's 36% of the US workforce. That's a big chunk. $1.32 trillion industry. It's the fourth largest industry in the United States. And here's just a little more data. You're going to see that freelancers, that includes Uber drivers and Lyft drivers, but it also includes this category called skilled freelancers. And it says here that the median hourly wage is $25, but there's a lot of $10, $15, $20 an hour entry level type of jobs, but there's also people charging $800 an hour at a C-level executive that you could hire, for the project, so this is really interesting. And it's a combination of pay. Some of it, 45%, is on fixed fees, meaning you get paid for milestones, and 32% are paid hourly, and 23% is a combination of the two. This is interesting. The US workers doing freelancing by generation, they're getting younger. I think most of the crowd here would be a Gen Z. 50% of Gen Zs freelanced in 2020, 50%, 44% millennials. Post-grads are most likely to freelance. 45% of post-grads in 2020, 45% are freelancing. That's a big chunk. And here, I talked about freelancing in general and skilled freelancers. Skilled freelancing is 50% of this whole thing. So it's not just Uber drivers and Lyft drivers. There's this skilled freelancing I'm going to get into detail with. And here it says that more are living in urban areas. But you know what? I think this is changing. Like that 60 Minutes episode said, 43% are in urban areas, but that's because that's where the jobs were. That's where they got, that's where they got sent home because of the pandemic. So they're living there now. But once they get established in the gig economy, there's no reason they have to stay in San Francisco at $4,000 a month for a 700 square foot apartment. Right? So these are some of the trends that I think you'll find interesting. This is cool. 3 out of 10 people who left their regular job to get into freelancing, 65% ended up making more money. 57% of those people within the first 6 months than their main job. So you're not doing this because you want, I'll make a little less, but I'll get all this flexibility. No. You're making more and you've got flexibility. So this is kind of interesting. And this is just, closing thing here is just saying that freelancers are very optimistic. 58% of non-freelancers new to remote work are considering freelancing in the future. You could imagine what happened in 2020 was people say, hey, this isn't so bad. I think I'm going to do this some more. 86% of freelancers are saying that the best days are ahead of them. So very, very positive feel altogether. Okay, so what kind of people can do this? Well, anybody who needs to make more money. It doesn't have to be your full-time job. Don't have to quit your day job to do this. People who've lost their jobs and have difficulty finding new ones absolutely should look at this. Parents who wish to continue working. This is perfect for single moms. They could work from home, or anybody who wants to continue working from home. Students, yeah, or anybody with an irregular schedule, because you could fit the work in when it's most convenient for you. People who desire to live outside of the city. Like I said before, people were in the city because that's where the jobs were. You don't have to live in a city anymore as long as you have an internet connection, right? People with disabilities or physical limitations is ideally suited for, because it's a work from anywhere profession. Retired men and women that want to continue to contribute, absolutely. Burnt out employees like Melissa that we saw there that needed to restart, and really anybody willing to learn. So why is this so flexible? Because there's no boss, just stars. And what I mean by this is the person hiring you is less likely to ask for your resume as they are to look quickly at how many 5 stars did you get doing a similar job that they want to hire you for. The fact that you're an Oswego and you're a student, all that, that's all great. Absolutely. That will differentiate you from others that maybe never even went to school or to university. But really what they're looking for is, can you do this specific job that I want done? That's it. So you're now in the star market. And the freelancing marketplace, there's all these different websites, and it's very well organized, meaning that I go to these websites, I open up a freelancer profile, people post jobs. I'll show you examples of this, thousands of new jobs every day that I could search for. And I'm searching for the right client that I want to work for. It's not that I'm looking for the right job. I'm saying, who do I want to work for? Let's see who's got some interesting gigs out there. And the freelancing sites manage all the money exchange. You don't have to go chasing money from people in other countries. When I finish a job and then I submit it, the client accepts it, the freelancing work site releases the funds. And that's why you'll see when you search for jobs, it says payment verified. That's a good thing to look for. It just means that they've already put in their credit card or whatever, and they're verified. Okay, but it's a very well organizing. And then also when you want to declare income for tax reasons or any other reasons, getting a loan or whatever, they produce all the reports that say what you made. Okay, in this course, in this training, I want to invite you to, it's all remote. It's very flexible, you'll see, but we teach 9 digital professions that complement what you're doing today. We'll get into that. But the 9 digital professions that allow me to work from anywhere, be my own boss, choose my own hours, and create my own income without having to be a technology ninja or gifted writer. So this is what I'm going to teach. I'm going to get into this, but you don't have to learn all this. These are complementary. Let's just take web content, for example. If you like to write, yes, you could write. Maybe you're studying economics or history or whatever you are in school, and there's websites all over the world that want articles written on that. But maybe you're into sports, or maybe you're into car racing, or whatever it is that you're passionate about. There's websites all over the world looking for content. Translator, do you know 2 languages? All this stuff, we're going to get into it. But the point is, these are just skills that are in there. And if you do like writing, I recommend you go through the blogging module, just because it'll give you some tips on how to write for the gig economy for clients and things like that. But it's not like you have to learn new things, all right? And for the most part. But also, there's all these things you're studying in Oswego. There's not a course out there you can't leverage in the gig economy. Again, for writing, for social media, for any topic, there's companies that want social media postings, and they want articles written, or they want you to be customer service. And maybe it's a pharmaceutical company, and the fact that you're studying biology is a big plus, or chemistry. So the point is, you could leverage anything that you know or are passionate about. And just in this example of that, we don't teach graphics design in our modules. So I just did a search on this yesterday, graphics design, and said, oh, only 2,345 jobs found. But look, I checked here, entry level or intermediate, because you might be studying graphics design. Says, well, I never worked for a company before, but I'm pretty good at it. I do it for my friends or my family, whatever. So just check, entry level. Maybe you feel more confident, check intermediate. When you're ready, you check expert, and it shows how many jobs are here. But what caught my attention here is this is paying 10 to 30 bucks an hour. Posted 2 minutes ago. I did this search yesterday. This is so cool. Every time I refresh my screen, it's like, wow, there's a new gig. Let's see what this is about. And here it just says, automotive dealership, you have to, they're doing graphics design for these dealerships. It's a marketing company. Most of the work is Photoshop, but if you know a little Illustrator, that's cool. And it's 5 to 15 hours per week. I was like, wow, that's perfect for a college student. That's really cool. So I just wanted to show you. Posted 2 minutes ago, 10 to 30, probably depends on your experience or whatever. But the point is, all these kind of cool jobs are out there, and we don't teach graphics design. Maybe it's something you have already. Okay. Blogging, I mentioned this, web content creator. It's not just blogging. It could be just, writing for the website or for different articles, or maybe they want to report. But the nice thing about this is, again, you could leverage things that from your education or your passions. You're into music, you're into cars, you're into whatever you're into. People want articles written. And I just did a search on freelancers yesterday, and I found Michael. And it says, hey, you get high quality SEO articles, blog posts covering AI related topics. Now, I don't know Michael, but maybe he works in a job and he's an AI expert. And he's like, he charges $100 for a 25-word article. Now, if I don't know anything about artificial intelligence, I could write the article, but I got to do like hours of research. This guy could probably do it in his sleep. And he says, you know what? I'm just going to write 5 articles a week. That's 5 hours of my time, and I'll make, an extra $2,000 a month. That's my apartment payment. Or maybe he's doing well in his job. He's like, I'm just going to spend, invest 2,000 on Bitcoin every month. And I don't want to rationalize it. So I'm taking it out of my salary. So I'll just do this 5 hours of work, but the point is, it's a great way to make extra income. And just one more example, just to drive the point home. Here's Karen, and she is into nutrition, food, and drink. And she charges $50 for a 1,500 word article. I think 100 was probably double that, 3,000 words or something. But again, if Karen is into this, she doesn't have to spend hours researching stuff. She could just say, oh, this is a company and they're into nutrition for work, for this type of sport. And, and she could customize it, probably crank this out in less than an hour, and, and put it through Grammarly, and boom, she's done. So just some examples here. Okay, customer support. Now this, used to look like this. You had to work in a call center and they set you up with the gear and all that. But today it looks like this. American Express and Apple are hiring everyone that works for them customer support from their house. Now there's 3 types of support. Phone support, you have to check in and check out, right? You got to be available at a certain time. They'll route calls to you. Same thing with chat support. You got to be there and clock in and clock out. Now, a lot of these companies are flexible because they're looking for 24/7 support in some cases. So if you say, hey, I'm available 2 hours in the morning and 3 hours in the afternoon, some companies will go for that, right? But then there's email support. Email support, they say, hey, look, you just help us out. We need to reply to these emails that come in within 24 hours or 48 hours. So you just got to check on it 2 or 3 times a day and see if anything new came in and reply. So, very flexible. Web design. Okay, you might know web design in Oswego, HTML and programming. You could charge a much heftier rate. We just teach here, Weebly and WordPress, which is again an entry level skill to do this. But I found this lady yesterday, Stephanie, and she said, hey, you'll get a custom professional WordPress website in 1 week. She charges $2,500. And that's for a 6-page website. So I think this was like a 1-page website, and 3,000 was like a 10-page website. But the point is, again, WordPress comes with all these templates. The client's giving you most of the content about us, all that. You don't have to write it for them in some cases. They're giving you the content. She's just choosing a template and making it all look good. And, $2,500, if she does that in a week, if she does 4 of those a month, that's $10,000 a month doing WordPress sites. And again, she's been around. She's got 20 reviews, got all 5-star ratings. So, she's not entry level, but, she's doing okay. Social media manager. This is cool, especially if you're into social media, right? And in the course, we teach little, tricks, but professional tricks. There's software where you could do all the tweets and the posts for a client. You could program it all on a Sunday night and it'll go out for the rest of the week. You just got to maybe look in, make sure, it's all going good. Maybe part of your job is to reply to some comments, whatever. But the point is you could automate this. And here I found Regina, and she does social media campaign, calendaring more. She charges $640 to do 28 days worth of social media assistance, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. So again, I'm just showing you examples, and I really just searched yesterday for, for each of these topics. Say, oh, let me see who I could find. and what they're doing and what they're charging. And this is part of what we do together. If you want to do social media, say, hey, let's search for who's out there and what they're doing and what they're charging. And let's see. And I thought this was pretty cool. Online advertising. This is what I do. I do Facebook, Instagram advertising for small businesses. And again, usually these jobs on a retainer basis. So I could handle, 2, 3, 4, 5 clients paying me a monthly retainer fee. And yes, when you first start with a client, there's some work to get them onboarded. But after that, it's 15, 20 minutes a day looking over the campaign and making some adjustments, right? So pretty cool. And here's Abbas, and Abbas does, you'll get 3 hours of Facebook advertising consultation. All he does is look over your campaigns, and he charges $150 for, he charges, it does the same thing, but if you want it in 1 day, he'll charge you $150. If you want it in like 2 days, he'll charge you $100. If you want it in 3 days, he charges you $75. But all he does is look over your shoulder and give you some consultation. Hey, you should change this for that, or I recommend you do this. And this is just an easy thing. So again, I'm just showing you examples of what's out there and what's possible for the things that you might either want to learn or maybe things you know about, virtual assistant. This is kind of cool. It used to be like the lady that does a WorkSpeed, whatever, that, the assistant was there working in the office next to the manager she or he is working for. But today it's people from all over the world just doing repetitive tasks for businesses. And I found this yesterday. I thought this was kind of cool. It was under virtual assistant, but Allison looks after your, in all the different social media sites for public reviews, and she addresses them promptly. So she's got her little niche here, and I'm not sure how she charges. She says $200, she says, for 12 hours work, but I don't think she's charging by the hour. I don't know if that's per day, but basically if you're a restaurant, she's going in there checking to see if somebody left a bad review, and she'll address it. And I was like, wow, what a great little niche. This is a cool thing. And, it doesn't take her all day. She just maybe she works for restaurants and gyms or whatever. And she just goes and checks out the reviews, and she does prompt reviews, and sometimes it's good because people leave bad reviews without merit. So it's good to be able to be there and reply, and businesses will pay for this. Transcriber. This was cool. Transcriber used to be that you had to be a pretty decent touch typer, right? Because you're listening to an audio file or a video, and you got to type out the written equivalent of what's going on there. Well, today there's software, I'll show you this in a second, that does a really good job of this. So I'm like, wait a minute, no one's looking for transcribers anymore. So I did a search yesterday, and there was 70 jobs. This one paid, and again, this is the first one on the top of the list. You scroll down, there's a whole bunch of, there's 70 jobs. And here it says, I want somebody to transcribe my English speaking YouTube videos into English captions with subtitles to upload to YouTube. Again, the software that does this really well. Does that mean you just upload to the software and then paste that in Upwork and get paid? No, you got to listen to the video. You got to make sure the software did a decent job. You just don't have to type 60 words a minute, right? Whatever it is that's a fast typer nowadays. So a technology is your friend. Translator. Do you know 2 languages? I grew up with English and Spanish, and this thing called Google Translate, I think it came out like 6 or 7 years ago. It was okay. It is really good now. Google Translate is phenomenal. And again, there's software that does this, but there's jobs out there. And I found Luis, who does, translations into Spanish, and he charges here, $50 for 5,000 words, $100. I forgot what it was, 10,000 words. But again, I could put this in Google Translate. It'll come up with the English equivalent or the Spanish equivalent. Is he done? No, you still have to go through the document, put the accent marks, maybe make it sound friendlier, do whatever. You just don't have to sit there and translate it all from scratch anymore. So again, just giving you examples here, what's possible. And the last thing we teach in the training is, do you want to create your own product or service? And here, just using as an example, maybe this lady's a personal trainer, the pandemic hit, now she's doing a course from home, and you could do this. Whatever you're passionate about, you can create a course, you could launch it. This might be something you do on your summer break or maybe later, but the point is, once you know how to do websites and you know how to do advertising, you know how to do social media, there's no reason you can't launch your own product or service, or maybe get together with a team of friends and do this, right? This is what I did in Silicon Valley. I launched a handful of startups. So, okay, so here's where we're at. I talked about this. artificial intelligence, friend or foe. You know, a lot of people saying, hey, these jobs like, you know, transcription, it's going to take over. No one's going to hire freelancers anymore. Not true. They want a human to do this. They don't want to learn this software. Jarvis is a piece of software that I've used for a while, and it is pretty good. AI copywriting assistant. Forget about endless hours trying writing blog posts, marketing emails, sales pages. Now you let your AI copywriter assistant Jarvis do it for you. It does a really phenomenal job. You put in the topic, a couple of keywords. It could be a topic you know nothing about. It does research. It comes back and say, yes, in 1947, the first, you know, it really gives you a great outline for a blog post. Is it done? No, you still should go through it and put your touches on it and personalize it to the customer style of their business or whatever. But pretty cool stuff. So learn the software. Your client doesn't want to learn this stuff. Happy Scribe, that thing we saw before with the transcription for YouTube videos, done. It does it. Happy Scribe does a great job. Is it done when you just put it in there? No, you should go through the video and make sure that there's no edits or anything that you want to do. But the heavy lifting, most of it's done for you. Utter AI I use all the time, and you can even have Utter AI go into a Zoom call and create the whole transcript of the call. So again, I have a PDF with all these software as they come out, and I put it in the course. The point is, you could really get good at some of these AI apps and learned it to your advantage. Now you could handle more clients. You know, still put your personal touch on it. Don't rely 100% on the software. But it's getting easier. Okay, I'm going a little fast, but hopefully we'll have some time here to interact with some questions and whatever. Okay, the 5 steps to getting your first freelancing gigs. I just want to give you an upstairs. So you've gone through some course, you choose what you want to do. Okay, first thing is this: decide which digital professions are best suited for you. It could be one, you know, you're a student now, you say, you know what, I really like writing. I'm just going to do content creation, blog articles. If I could do, you know, 2 articles a week, I'll make my 800 a month or whatever it is that your number is that you want to do. Or maybe it's like, you know what, if I'm going to write articles, I might as well do, I'm also really good at social media. You know, I've always come up with these great ideas. Maybe I'll do these 2 things. Or maybe I'll do websites and then write content for the websites. I could write blog articles. So a couple of these can go well together, 2 or 3, or just choose one. The point is, you know, again, between your personal passions and what you're learning scholastically, pick one that best suits you, and then choose a freelancing platform. I mentioned Upwork, and you remember that slide that had like dozens of freelancing sites up there. Some of them are focused, like you know, just for graphics design, like 99 Designs, and something like Upwork has everything in it. But choose one, because you want to start collecting those 5 stars on one platform versus spreading it out over 2 or 3 different platforms. Then you have to create your profile. And this is something we spend a lot of time doing as a team. I'll show you in a little bit, but there's a whole module dedicated to best practices. I use Upwork, but what you learn there, you could apply to any of the freelancing sites. But you create your profile. We do this together. We could, as a team, critique each other, and you know, you're going to search you know, the top freelancers in the space that you want to get into, just to look at their profile and see what you want to model after. Oh, wow, I really like the way they describe, you know, their article writing ability, you know. And then you start responding to jobs. And then once you get a job, you perform an excellent service and request ratings. Hey, ask them for the 5 stars. Hey, look, I hope you're really happy with that. I'm really in this for the 5 stars. If there's something you're not happy with, I'll do it again. And then after they give you the 5 stars, says, hey, if you got any friends, you know, people that need this kind of help, you know, just refer me. That's it. It's not heavy sells at all. It's just communication, right? And a key thing is this. I'll get into all the details, but in this team, we'll have weekly, non-mandatory, but weekly Zoom calls to help each other out. You could share your screen, say, hey, Phil, check this out. I've got my profile. What do you think? I'll give my advice. I'll ask if anybody else wants to give their 2 cents of what could they do to make a better profile. But once you start getting your gigs, I could look over your shoulder, or we can get other experts to look over your shoulder and give you some advice on making sure you do 5-star work. So I think this is really, really important. So this is key. How many proposals does it take to get a client? Now, when you first get started, you don't have any ratings. So it could take you up to 25 proposals before someone takes a chance on you. Now, the way I teach it in the course, I teach a very personalized way to do these responses, and it never takes me more than 5 minutes to respond to a proposal. And the reason, well, I'll get into that, but I do a personalized Loom video, less than 5 minutes, and I share my screen and I show their posts and say, hey, thanks for posting this on Upwork. And then if I have anything relevant that I've done in the past, in your case, it could be an article or you did as an assignment for a class you took. It doesn't have to be a paying gig, but say, hey, look, I like to write. Here's an example of what I wrote. This is a part of my project last semester. But the point is you just personalize it, but it should only take you less than 5 minutes to respond. But once you get at least 1 to 3 5-star ratings, this gets cut in half, 1 out of every 11 proposals. And once you get at least 4 5-star ratings, you should get like 25% of everything. And this varies, depends on what jobs you're replying to. Some has a lot of competition, so it could be look more like this. Some doesn't have that much competition, so you might get jobs right away. And that's why working as a team, I'm going to show you ways that you can get 5-star ratings. I might hire you, right? That's one of the things that we do. But also there's a way to go offline to get people that or people in your restaurants in your neighborhood or whatever. Hey, by the way, I do advertising, and I can help you get more people in this place. And there's ways you could do that, but don't hire me directly. Hire me through Upwork because I want to get the 5 stars. I'll give you a special deal, but I'm in it for. So it takes a little bit of work in the beginning, but once you get through that tipping point, it's almost like, you know what? I need an extra $1,000. I'm just going to do a couple of gigs, and it'll be there for you long term. And here I just want to show you, when you search for work, I just put a lot of the topics that we have in the course, but it could be something else. In this case, I just chose entry level. You get to pick, who do you want to work for? This I just picked entry level is 343 jobs, but if I clicked on intermediate, it was 2,132 jobs. How many hours of work, how many hours a week do they want? Any hours or less than 30. I mean, you could have a lot of flexibility. Is their payment verified? How many, you could see how many 5 stars the client has, so other people like working for them. So the point here is that you get to pick your client. It's not just that they pick you, right? So here we've Dakar. Okay, Oswego Skilled Freelancing Team. What are we going to do? First of all, I mentioned this. It's a free training. All you have to do is fill out the survey. We're going to open it up to everyone, but here's the challenge. We are challenging you or accepting that you will complete your profile within the first 2 weeks from launch date. We don't even have a launch date yet, but it's not going to take you that long. I'll show you but you just need to at least have a draft of your profile. Once you have your profile, we're going to invite you into the Slack group, and that's where we're going to continue and get together on weekly Zoom calls. Again, the calls are optional, but they're highly recommended because not only if you don't need help, you'll get to see how we help other people. People come into the calls and say, hey, I'm looking for social media management jobs. And I'll start looking on Upwork and I'll say, hey, let's see what's out there. And then I'll help you navigate which clients might be better to work for based on your criteria. Hey, this one looks like it's more like a full-time job. Let's look for somebody that looks, bit less hours per week. We'll help personalize the search. But then again, once you start getting the gigs, you can come into the Zoom calls and say, hey, Phil, I just got this thing. I wrote this article, give me your feedback and I'll give you my 2 cents, right? Also, we could do one-on-one coaching by appointment. We'll be in the Slack group. You say, hey, look, I got this, I got my profile done. I'm applying for this job, or I got this job. Can you help me out? And I'll be more than happy to do that. And we'll talk about this. So maybe in a second, but Gary Morris is here. And, we've talked about this. Hey, what if we can get some resources? Maybe have it like part of a challenge, but, win a Chromebook with a mic and a camera, the things that you need to do a good job. This is something we want to bring to the table. And again, like I mentioned before, I'm going to hire a handful of the students that maybe finish their profiles first or do something, but I want to help you. So that way you'll get your 5 stars. I'm not just going to give it to you. I'll coach you to do a 5-star job, but that will help you get over that tipping point so you can get jobs very quickly. So click on this in the chat if you're interested, at least have the come up in a new tab so you could fill it out later. Here, I just wanted to show you some things. This is the course. I could share my screen, show you, but this is just module 2, Upwork best practices. This is really all you have to go through. And you can see the introduction is 19 minutes, but other than that, 5 minutes, 3 minutes, okay, 19 minutes creating your profile. You just got to go through these videos in your spare time and then take a shot at writing your profile. So this is the main challenge that we've got for you, that, 2 weeks is not going to be a long time, but it's also not going to be a lot of work. And here's just the course syllabus I just showed you. It's 96 minutes, the whole module. But really, you just need a couple of videos here up on top to do the profile. So a couple of things I didn't mention is that when we have these calls, I could recruit freelancing experts to come in and help you. Right? If we got enough people doing article writing or doing social media, I'll find the best people out there and say, hey, can you come in and talk to the team? How do you get your work? How do you do it? How do you organize yourself? And I'll show you some examples of people I was researching this week. And also, this is just an idea, but I've already got the agency launched. We could form an Oswego freelancing agency where, as a team, we might have 2 or 3 people that search for jobs all day. And they reply. And then when they get the job, we'll look at the team and say, okay, who could help us? We need a writer. We need a website designer. Who could do this? So there's a way in a team that we could organize ourselves this way. And by the way, this is something you could do in the future. And I'll show you. So I did some searches, like, okay, if I'm going to bring in somebody for blog writing, let me do a search. And I did a search for people who, have a good success rate. And this is Bennett. I don't know. He went to college. I don't know how long ago he graduated, but he's made over 300K on Upwork alone. And he charges $175 an hour. It's got to be pretty good. I would love to invite. Actually, I sent him a message. He didn't reply yet, but I said, hey, would you like to come in and talk to our team about this? I sent Jacqueline a message too. She did reply. She goes, that sounds great. I would love to do this. Again, I'll hire her for the hour, just to come in and talk to us. But she's a copywriter, editor, designer, and transcriptionist. She's made over 90K on Upwork. She might be on 2 or 3 other platforms too. I don't know. And I don't remember down here if she went to university or not. But the point is, this is part of what we could do. We could invite people that have the experience come in, and even though writing, might not know writing. As a freelancer, it has its own little niches and things that you could specialize in. So I'd love to get people like Jacqueline to come in and talk to us. So that's it. I want to now open up and see if I have any questions or people, but go click on that link. You could fill it out in your spare time. Again, everybody who fills it out is going to be invited. I'm going to open up the course for you. And then after that, we'll have a launch date. I'll coordinate this with Gary, and then we're going to give you a 2-week window to just get to your draft of a profile. You could do it we really could do it on a couple hours on a weekend if you want, but the point is, this is something we're going to do together, help each other out. It's a trend that's changing work as we know it. And as you saw from the statistics, this is easily going to be 50% of the US workforce within the next couple of years. 50%. It's a big thing. So, all right. I'm sure you're tired of me talking by now. Oh, look, I got all dark. The sun went down here. So what do you think, Kayla?
Yeah, wow. Thank you so much. This sounds like a great program. And I thank you for introducing us students to just a few of the many, many resources I'm sure are available for freelancing. I just wanted to move into questions with some time that we have left. I saw that Gary did have a question in the chat. So when students are part of this training, do we need to go through all of the trainings for all of the professions, or can we just pick a couple that we're interested in and work with those?
Yes, thank you. You only need to pick first of all, module 2, which I pointed out, which is best practices. For sure, go through that one. And then other than that, again, like if you know graphics design, I don't teach graphic design in the course. Just take what you learn in school, what you're learning in school. You don't have to have your degree yet. And then we could help you with your profile and you can start looking for work. Now, if you're into writing, you could say, hey, I know how to write already. I still would recommend you go through the content writing course, because again, it's like it's an hour and change of content. It's not like reading a big book or something, but it'll teach you some skills for writing as a freelancer. So there's some tips there, but absolutely you do not have to go through. We used to do it saying, hey, go through all 9 and see which ones you like and select 1 or 2. Forget it. I know it's been a while, but life as a student, man, you don't have time to do all that. So I think we're doing it backwards now. That's why we want to focus on your profile first. What do you know naturally? Maybe again, you're into sports, you're physical fitness or something like that, and you want to leverage that. Okay, well, how do you want to leverage it? You could do advertising for your personal clients if you want. So go through the advertising course, or maybe you just want to write articles for gyms all over the world. Then take look at the article writing course and take what you know already and put them two together, do your profile, and you're off to the races, as they say.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. It's good to know that we can sort of pick and choose what we're really interested in, because they are so different, but they're all very helpful skills to have.
Yeah.
So Gary had another question. How long will it take to finish my profile on average? How long until I start making money?
Okay. Well, the money, like I said, I had that chart up there that showed you might have to reply to a lot of gigs before you get your first one. Well, there's a whole bonus module just on this, how to get clients offline. First of all, we might hire you, right? Because I last class, I think I hired 1 or 2 or 3 students that were in the training to do their first gig. Now, again, they were doing things like one did a transcription job, one did an article. But the point is, I let them choose the topic they wanted. Maybe one of the articles I published on one of my company's websites, but it could be something you want to do, but I'm going to coach you and say, okay, this was okay, but you really didn't grab my attention in the opening. Why don't we do this again? So we'll coach you through that. But as far as time goes, again, the whole module 2 is 90 minutes. And really, there's 4 videos in that. So maybe a half hour specifically about writing your profile. And it's like an article formula. I mean, the description is really small. It's like a couple of paragraphs. It's not even like writing a full page worth of stuff, I teach opening paragraph should be something about the client, get their attention. If they want to hire a writer, you say, hey, as a small business owner, I'm sure you want articles that are stimulating and get to the point of the problems that your industry is facing. Get to their problem first and then say, hi, my name is Phil and I could help you with, right? So it's just like some formulas and stuff. So the faster you do it, I would say, less than 2 hours total between watching some of the videos and spending some time on a Saturday afternoon or something, when it's snowing out, doing your profile, and then come into the open Zooms and we'll help you get to the next phase. And I'll give you my professional opinion, but I'm sure there'll be students in the room say, hey, you know what, that didn't grab my attention to it. I'm into that as well. And I think you could have, maybe changed this for that, whatever. But the point is we do it as a team. So for a few hours of maybe work, you could have that profile, then we'll invite you into the Slack group where people could be posting their profiles and everybody else could be commenting, and then we'll come up with a Zoom schedule that hopefully, we'll send out a survey to see, when, evening, morning, whatever. We'll have this weekly. Maybe we'll change it after, after the first semester to the second, whatever, but we'll be flexible. But the point is we'll have that as a kind of steady. I record them and you go into the Learning Center and you'll see the recording. But if you have a profile, you start to search for work, come in there and leverage my skills to help you search for the right job, reply to the job the right way, get your 5 stars, and away we go. As you can tell, I'm pretty animated about this. I love it.
The passion's amazing.
Cool.
Yes. So something that I want to ask is,
Yeah.
I'm a senior this year. So is it truly realistic for a student new to the job market, new to sort of creating this sort of content or doing these jobs, to make money doing freelancing? And how could I as a student start to build my portfolio of work now?
What's your dream job career? Don't forget that's specific, just like what area, what would you see yourself doing that would just put a big smile on your face?
I love public relations, and specifically for non-for-profits.
Beautiful. I work with a lot of non-for-profits. There's tons of non-profit clients in these freelancing sites. Mm-hmm. The point is, while you're a student, you could say, hey, look, you could reply to jobs where they want articles for their websites. Maybe they have a grant proposal and they need somebody to editor, there's all sorts of little jobs you could do helping out these nonprofits. Now on your resume, besides being this great student at Oswego, you could have like real experience working for 3 or 4 nonprofits, even though they were small jobs you did for them. But you're talking with them. You graduate school, you're going to get 3 offers from your clients, So I think you could definitely. There was a lady in our last training team who was into zoology. And she was looking for like, nonprofits to deal with animals, so she could help, so there's a whole bunch of creative ways that instead of working a retail job or McDonald's or something like that, you could make more money, less time doing something very focused. That's a stepping stone to where you want to go. And by the way, once you get that dream job, right, you might say, hey, you know what? I like this rent thing, but I want to buy, maybe if I need that 20% down. Maybe you make a goal that you want to do side gigs and make an extra $1,000 a month, right? Or 2,000 a month. And at the end of your first year, you'll have 10 grand, 20 grand as your down payment. I mean, you could just come up with a goal and say, okay, I'm going to keep my dream job, but I want this little side thing,
Yeah.
and you decide, okay, I'll work 2 hours every evening. I'll work 3 hours on a Saturday or whatever, again, you decide, but that's the whole work-life balance thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Sounds like the first step is just trying, jumping in. So you talked a little bit about this, but is it a part of the training to help students build relationships with clients? So some, will have not necessarily you on a retainer, but come back for monthly things such as like social media, stuff like that. So is it a part of the training or is it sort of just experience?
No, thank you. I should have made that clear. Actually, not all the jobs, but a lot of the jobs are repetitive jobs. I think one of them that I showed there said the transcription on the videos, I didn't read it all carefully, but they said, hey, I've got 300 videos. And after that, it's going to be like 3 a week. So, so the point is, you might find a client that has a whole backlog of stuff that can keep you busy for months. And after that, they're going to do 3 videos a week. They want you to do the transcription for. So once you establish they might try 2 or 3 freelancers. In some cases, they'll say right in their post, I'm looking for 4 freelancers. They know that they have more work than one, but once you do a good job for somebody, article writing, social media management, most of these are repetitive gigs. So with 2 or 3 clients, you could be making the same or better than a full-time job even, and again, if you're saying, hey, I only want to do 10 hours a week, that's it. I only got 10 hours a week. You're not going to make a career salary, but you could choose 2 or 3 jobs that you like, that you could put that time into and leverage it. And, the hardest thing here, I really think, is this change of paradigm. And universities, they were born out of the Industrial Revolution, and Henry Ford had this assembly line. So they were teaching everybody how to be really good employees. But now you gotta, even if you don't consider yourself an entrepreneur, you're an entrepreneur because you're taking the initiative and you're selecting your right client, and you have to learn how to manage your time. So there's a lot of things like that, a day job is really easy to tell you what time to show up, what time to go home, when to take a vacation. With freelancing, like, hey, I think I'm going to take, April off. So I'm going to start tearing down my clients, and I'm not going to take any new clients, and I'm going to get my friends to back me up for the clients that I have on a repetitive basis, and I'll introduce them to them in March and say, hey, I'm going to be gone for April. So you have to do a little planning. But and I'll tell you what, I've been on vacation. My clients didn't even know it. I was doing Facebook advertising. They didn't know I was on vacation. I would wake up at 7. By the time my friends were all waking up around 10, I was done, done for the day. No one knew I was in the Caribbean.
Yeah, that's great. Definitely the flexibility is a benefit. We have a question in the chat, and it is, if you could just touch on this, it's a little more in depth about the program, but is the profile posted when it is completed, or does the student have an option to make it non-viewable?
You can make it private. And then when you want, you can make it public. But just because you make it public, don't have to worry about that. Everybody's going to be knocking at your door. Say, you can make it public. And until you start replying to gigs, most people won't see it. But you can make it public, publish it in the Slack group, have all of us, give some comments and help you out. And then you'll start replying to work. And that's when people will start seeing it. And you'll see the profile is really, there's a style of writing in the description. There's a place called Portfolio, where obviously if you've been freelancing for a while, you could show different examples of work you've done for clients. But if it was just like, I worked with my uncle, in his, landscaping business, but you could say how I dealt with clients. I'm a good people person. I like community. I was the one that always dealt with the problems because my uncle has a hot head, whatever. But you could tell little stories about how you apply your personal your soft skills and your technical skills together. There, and I had a slide there some before, but most freelancers saying that it's 50-50, soft skills, technical skills. It's not just, I want you for your technical skills. And, you know, obviously something like customer service, you got to be good with people, but you have to be good with your clients. You have to know how to ask questions. You have to be good, say, wow, I'm in trouble with this article, man. This is really taking me more time. Communicate with the client. Say, hey, Sally, I know I told you I'd be done by Thursday night, but I really had this idea and it's taken me a little longer. I'm just going to develop. You're going to be really happy, but I'll have it to you by Saturday morning. You just got to communicate,
Absolutely. Yeah. I was wondering, as a part of the training, as a part of having you as sort of like a one-on-one mentor, do you help students come figure out sort of the income side of things, and also like how do you figure out taxes? And some of us are very new to earning a paycheck and earning money at all. So, do the services like Upwork take taxes out? Could you go into that a little bit?
No, good point. Nope, you just get paid directly. Upwork will give you reports saying how much did you make the last quarter, the last year. You got to take that, and yes, you should, and we should probably get some accountants to help us out to help people with account. But you have to get into the habit of saying, okay, I'm going to put some money aside here for Uncle Sam, and then eventually, when you start making a lot, maybe you make quarterly payments or something like that. But it's not that complicated, especially if you're just doing this as a part-time job. Just get the reports. You get at the end, you have to get an account to help you file. Again, you need a good accountant to tell you if you start making a lot of money, but everything you do is expendable. Maybe your internet connection, your home office, whatever. There's a lot of expenses you could have against. But again, I'm not an accountant, so don't go by me. But that's where we can get some advice. And actually, that'd be a great idea to get some accountants, maybe from Oswego, whatever, to come in and advise the freelancers on how to organize themselves. I mean, so that's a very good question.
Yeah, absolutely. Just one more question, sort of on a very similar note, is how do I figure out how much to charge people? Am I going off of just other people that I see on the website, other freelancers with similar experiences I do?
Yeah, well, first, when you start searching for jobs, sometimes they'll have, like you saw today, one job was like between $10 and $30 an hour. So maybe depending on the scale, if you're just starting off, you could start at 10. But a lot of this also is congruent with your 5-star rating. So I've got no 5 stars. You could even say, hey, look, I'm really comfortable with this work, but I'm discounting my hourly rate because I really want to do a good job by you and start getting my reputation. So instead of charging 25, you're charging 15, But once you start collecting those 5 stars, you wake up one day and say, hey, let me go back to my profile. I got to change that 15 to a 25. So a lot of it has to do with experience, but some other jobs like social media management or advertising or even blog writing, you could say, hey, look, I'll do 4 articles for you a month and it's going to be X dollars a month, right? They're not charging you by that. Most of the jobs, I don't like charging by the hour because I work too fast. But you got all of a sudden you're a retainer for X dollars a month or a week. You got to do these deliverables. And every time you do a deliverable, you mark it in in Upwork. And Upwork releases those funds, and Upwork takes their percentage too. I think they take 20% in up to the first 5,000, and they take 10%, and then they take 5%. And again, Upwork brings you together, so I think they deserve their fee. But sometimes when a client wants to hire you repetitively for long term, they'll take it off of Upwork. I get paid by Zelle directly to my checking account. I get paid by PayPal. Again, you might need an accountant to help you organize all this, but it's so cool. Every client, I've got some clients on Upwork, some clients off of Upwork, and it's really, I think it's fascinating, especially when I see people that like only getting used to getting paid for what they know scholastically, and all of a sudden they've got this little hobby, and it becomes their niche, and they're like, all day long, I'm just talking about my hobby, and I love it, and I'm getting paid for it,
That's great. Thank you so much. Thanks for answering all the questions. We're going to wrap up because it is 7 o'clock, but I just wanted to say thank you to everyone for participating and for the questions, and a huge thank you to you, Phil, for joining us tonight. Your insights, your perspectives are very interesting, and I just can't wait to hear more about this program and this partnership with Career Services.